In this video, I'm going to share with you the exact nutrition protocols that I use to lose 18 kilos while adding over 125 watts to my FTP. That got me to 5 watts per kilo. And I've now implemented this with over 600 of our clients, busy founders, directors, senior professionals who have also gone on to lose over 10 kilos while adding 25 to 50 watts to their FTP at the same time, and has allowed them to achieve 3 watts per kilo and beyond with their power, fitness, weight, riding, VO2 max, which has a really positive impact both on and off the bike. So let's not wait around, let's dive straight into this. So I've just split this into two categories here: AM ride and PM ride. And today I'm just going to talk you through what a day has looked like for me when I was doing this, but also looks like for my clients, depending on when they ride. It can be a split, some ride AM, some ride PM, and obviously this can change on the day. You might plan to ride in the morning, but end up having to do an evening ride because of meetings coming, something's happened at home with the family, or obviously ever-changing schedules I'm sure you also have yourself. So I'm just going to give you the two scenarios, and I'm going to break down each part of the day, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, the fueling for the day, where your ride is, and what you need to do to, one, ensure that when you get on the bike, you've got loads of energy to have a really good quality session, maximize that valuable ride time that you've got, but then also stay on track with any weight loss, body composition, or weight management targets that you've got at the same time as well. So let's get straight into it. The first example then is going to be an AM ride. And obviously AM could be any time from literally when you might wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning through to 12 o'clock midday. So just in this example, because of a lot of our clients, they do ride at around that 5, 6 AM time in the morning. Some of them just have to. In this example, I'm going to use that because you may have the same. So if we're doing that ride at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, just to go through the fueling for the day, this actually will start the evening prior, because if we're getting on the bike and certainly doing any threshold or VO2 max type training, any intervals, if you follow me for a while now on the channel, I've gone through what they are and how you can even build out your own sessions. But if we're going to be doing sessions like that, we're going to be working quite hard, and we are going to then need some carbohydrates. We're going to need to top up our muscle and liver glycogen overnight so that when we're getting on the bike in the morning, we've got that energy there to have a really good session. And we want to do that the evening prior, because trying to consume, as you can see here, the target that I want you to try and focus on, 1 to 1.5 grams of carbohydrate per kilo of your body weight. If you're getting on and doing that ride at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to actually consume that amount. It's just not going to be possible. So this strategy is great because it allows you then the evening prior. So let's just say we're getting up on a Wednesday morning, and that's where we're doing our ride early on that Wednesday morning. On the Tuesday evening, that's where we actually want to start this carbohydrate fueling process, if you like. And it's a lot easier to do it then. Tuesday evening, you may even do this with a family if you sometimes find it quite hard to understand how I'm actually supposed to incorporate this fueling whilst being able to eat with the family or people that you're with at home. And this is a great way to do that, because on a Tuesday evening, you can sit down with a family, you can have a really good, well-balanced meal. That might include some pasta, some potatoes, some rice, good carbohydrate sources. That, if you have something like that, probably is actually already going to get you quite close to that 1 gram of carbohydrate per kilo of body weight. Where you sit within this can also really depend on what your targets are, what you're training for, how much weight you're looking to lose. And if you want some help with that, by the way, there'll be a link somewhere on the page, probably in the description below. You can click on that, book in a discovery call with me, and we can have a chat. But really, that evening meal on the Tuesday, that's going to allow you to get the bulk of this in without having to wake up even earlier the next morning. You're going to be able to top up that muscle and liver glycogen overnight, get up, and already done a really good job with your fueling there, which actually just makes it so much easier to do. That means then in the morning, let's just say, let's say if you're 100 kilo rider, you need to get at least 100 grams of carbohydrates in before doing that session. The evening prior, you can probably easily get 60, 70, 80 grams of carbohydrates. That means when you wake up in the morning at 4:30, 4:45, whenever that is, you can wake up, have your cup of coffee, have your tea, double espresso and a banana, or some dates is normally my go-to in the morning, really quick and easy. And that's going to give you that last 20 grams of carbohydrates that you ideally want. Not too heavy. You can obviously eat that straight away when you get up, or even just like a fruit juice or something is going to have 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrates. That with your coffee, you can get on and then actually start your ride that you're doing. That might be, I imagine, anywhere between 60 to 90 minutes in length. It might be shorter than that, but I would still try and aim for these amounts. Certainly, as you can see here, if the ride is going to be at threshold, so around your threshold or above. So that's where you're really going to be needing those carbohydrates to actually perform a well-structured interval session or any efforts. If you don't do that, you might sometimes struggle to do that. So this is really going to help have that fuel, but then stay in control of your appetite for the rest of the day, because you fuel better with that as well. So 40 to 60 grams of carbs, I would just do that in fluid form. Again, this is really easy. If you're waking up in the morning, just in your bottle, put your fluid high carb formula in there with some electrolytes. Most of them these days, the brands that are out there, have got 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrates in them. So you can actually have that. You can keep sipping on that through the session as well. Or if you've maybe missed a little bit of fueling here the night before, or been in a bit of a rush in the morning, this can actually be a bit of a savior if you haven't been able to quite hit your targets, because you've actually just drinking through the warm up and into your intervals and between your intervals to keep that topped up and make sure that you've got that energy right until your last effort to ensure you've had a really good session, and just maximize that time getting up in that morning. Now, if you're getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do a ride, you want to know that you're actually getting the most from that, and this is going to allow you to do it. The only change that we'll make here then, just something to look at, is if it is a sub-threshold ride. So if you're doing something like a zone 2 ride, a little bit of tempo, basically anything that's below your FTP or your threshold heart rate, or is just going to be a bit more cruisy, then we could actually say that this might actually be like a fasted ride that you're doing. You're still okay to have your carbohydrates the night before, that's fine. But the only tweak that you'll make is in the morning, you won't maybe top up with that sort of 20 grams extra there. And on the bike, if it's sub-FTP basically, sub-threshold, you can almost do this fasted if the ride is only going to be below that intensity and less than 90 minutes. If it's going to be over the 90 minutes, so this might be at the weekend, where you might be going out and doing 2, 3, 4, 5 hours plus if you do get time to do rides like that at the weekend. Even if that's going to be zone 2, I would then encourage you to have the carbs. But if it's in the week, during the week, Wednesday morning early before work, it's going to be under less than 90 minutes, and it's going to be below threshold, you can remove the carbohydrates and just get on there and have some water in your bottle. And that's actually just going to help with that fasted riding, the adaptations. You'll get that, maximizing fat adaptations, burning that fat. You're training your body to do that. And that can be a good way, certainly if you're looking to achieve any body composition or weight loss through the riding. And a strategy, again, helping you understand when is the time that you need the carbohydrates and when is the time not to use the carbohydrates to be able to achieve performance goals, but weight loss goals at the same time with it as well. Straight away then post-ride, I've just added the arrow up there. What we want to do, as soon as you've got off the bike and completed your ride, then around 25 grams of protein straight away after finishing that ride. That's whether it's been a zone 2 ride or has had some intervals in it above threshold. Easiest way to do this, I've personally found, is just through like a whey protein, just in a shaker, rather than, you might get off the bike and have, some Greek yogurt or make up some eggs, but if it's literally off the bike, shower, in your work, in the car to work, or straight onto your first meeting of the day, I imagine that you haven't got much time there, so a whey protein shake can be really good, 20 to 25 grams. Now, why is this good? The first reason for that is it's going to help you maximize the adaptations that you're actually getting from that session. You're giving the body some protein, you're giving the muscle, there's some protein there is available to actually recover, initiate that recovery process to maximize the adaptations that you're getting from the session. But it also acts as a bit of a bridge, that protein there. Because if you haven't fueled well before the session, you've got on, you haven't fueled well during the session, and you haven't fueled well after the session, that's where the day can then just get out of control, uncontrollable snacking, really hungry for the rest of the day, calories start piling in, snacking all day long from literally when you finish your ride at 7 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, and that's where any plateaus with weight loss can then start to occur. So the protein is great for performance, but it's also great for you to actually allow you to bridge from finishing that ride to when your actual first meal is going to be in the day, whether that's mid-morning, later in the morning, or really for you it might be around sort of lunchtime as well. Moving into that then, for the rest of the day, we've had that protein there. Our focus should be trying to get 1.5 grams of protein per kilo of your body weight as your daily total. So for the rest of the day, what we actually want to do is then lower carbohydrate intake. Okay, so we really don't need any more carbs for the rest of the day. Certainly if you're just going to be sitting at your desk, sitting in meetings, on Zoom calls, team calls, sitting in the car, sitting on the train. If there's not much other activity going on for the rest of the day, then you want to really lower that carbohydrate, push up your protein, and push up your fiber intake as well. And basically, fiber means any fruits and vegetables to go with those natural protein sources as well. So you've had your whey protein, then at lunchtime you might be looking for something like chicken, fish, dairy options, feta, beans, tofu, beans and tofu. Obviously, you're more vegetarian and vegan options that are out there. But that's really what we want to be focusing on for the rest of the day, is high natural sources of protein in your meal. So that's at lunchtime. Any high protein snacks might be, protein bars, Greek yogurt, protein yogurts. There's loads of great natural sources. You can go into all the supermarkets now and they've got, loads of protein bars or you might have another whey protein shake, but I would advise that you're trying to get it from as much natural sources as possible. For me, Greek yogurt is a great one. I've literally just had one this afternoon around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a little bit of a bowl of Greek yogurt. I put some berries in there, some raspberries, and drizzle a little bit of honey across the top of it. Really low in calories, really high in protein, bit of fruit in there as well. Okay, yeah, honey, there's a little bit of carbs in there, but that just adds a little bit more taste to it, a little bit of a spike of energy to then push through the rest of the day, come on and actually, film a video for you guys this afternoon on this topic as well with it. So yeah, that's the rest of the day. You lower that carbohydrate intake, fiber, protein for the rest of the day. There's a target there for you, which you can really aim for with that as well. And that will then be at lunchtime, afternoon snack, and then into your evening meal. Try not to go too carb heavy, unless of course you've got another session that you're doing the next day where you might need to go back into that cycle again. But if you're doing 2 hard sessions I mean, that's a topic for a different video in terms of actually structuring your training, but just these are the real nutrition protocols that I wanted to dial in with you today. And this is exactly what I've used and I've used with hundreds of my clients now. It works. It absolutely 100% works. Let's move into the other example then, because you might be have just gone through that, but yeah, Ben, that sounds great, but I actually don't ride in the morning. I have to do my rides. So the two most popular times that we see our clients ride is either 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, or they're doing it after work, basically. That might be for some, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, we've even got clients that are doing their rides sometimes just because they've had such busy days on some days, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. But some days you just got to do what you got to do, right? So this example is probably, I'm going to sit it around about, should we say, between 6 and 7, maybe, or even like 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Is this for this PM fueling example and protocol that I'm going to go through now. So let's start the day. So to begin with, to start the day, if we're doing a ride later in the day, we're going to go for a really low calorie breakfast. Now, I'm actually doing this at the moment. If I'm riding later in the day, I'll try and always get my rides done in the morning. But again, sometimes it just happens, right? You have to do them in the day. Things change in the day. So I would actually, in some cases, almost drop breakfast sometimes, or I might have a very, very low calorie but high protein breakfast. So again, a real small bit of Greek yogurt, a protein bar, a good, natural source of whey protein shake or something like that, if I feel like I need it. But if it's going to be a very sedentary day, where I'm, especially on a rest day, then I'll almost just take out breakfast completely and come into lunch will be my first meal there, bar maybe a little bit of fruit juice in the morning, which obviously has a little bit of carbohydrate and a coffee and things there. But I find that, if you are somebody that literally you burn the majority of your calories through your riding or training that you're doing, then I have found that is okay, and it's okay to remove the breakfast there to help you stay on track with any calorie targets that you may have. And just another key thing on here, this actually allows you to stay within any calorie targets that you might have set for the rest of the day. So do your ride, use your carbohydrates, and then you may have 1,000 calories left for the rest of the day, plus the exercise that you can actually burn through using that as well. So coming into lunchtime then on this PM ride day, what we want to do is, this is where we actually then place that emphasis of getting the carbohydrates in. So 1 to 1.5 grams of carbohydrate per kilo body weight. Again, 100 kilo rider, we need 100 grams of carbohydrates from lunchtime through to starting our ride at, as I say, 5:30, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, whenever that might be, 8 o'clock in the evening, okay? That's what we want to do. So we want to do that at lunchtime. So for lunch, you might have something like a jacket potato, rice, tuna pasta pot, chicken pasta pot. Again, you can walk into any, the great thing these days, whether you're going through an airport, you're in a train station, shopping centre, working in the office, jumping out of the office, wherever it might be, Marks and Spencer's, I'm just talking, I've got clients all around the world. Marks and Spencer's for me, I don't know why it just sprung to mind. They obviously have a lot of really good natural, food sources and pasta and rice and couscous and loads of different meals that you can get now. A lot of people say, I struggle to get these things, but they are available, or you can even make your own ones up, right? You can make your own tuna pasta. Takes like not even 15, 20 minutes to make, right? And you can take that with you to work if you want to actually prep for that as well. But they're the sorts of things that you can actually start to use to begin to get that, for some good tuna pasta dish, something like that, around 50, 60 grams of carbohydrates. By the time you've had a bit of a drink with it, maybe had a bit of a snack alongside it as well, you're already over halfway there, getting that 100 grams of carbohydrates for a 100 kg rider. Obviously, if you're lighter than that, then it's going to be less. Now, with your mid-afternoon snack, this is where we want to top up, because if you're eating your lunch from, let's just say at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 12 o'clock lunchtime, going 6 hours without then eating anything is a long time by you get on the bike. So I would always advise, and I do this as well, is that you have a bit of a mid-afternoon snack or around maybe 4 o'clock, or basically timing-wise, I would be looking at the optimal I have found in my experience. And again, with our clients, sometimes this depends on the individual, but an hour and a half prior to the session is a good time to just top up the carbs. So again, if you've had your 60 to 80 from lunchtime to here, again, you can then get another 20, 30 grams of carbohydrates in a snack. That might be energy bar, banana, fruits, dates. Dried fruit is fantastic. Packed full of carbs, you're getting fruits, you're getting minerals and vitamins in with that as well. Dates are really good. You can just achieve anything really with that, 20, 30 grams. Or if you're really, this is a good hack, if you're in a rush, you've forgotten to take anything with you, which happens as well, but you've got a bottle and you can put some of your high carb formula in your bottle, and you're driving back home and you've got a session to do, or you're on the train or flying back from somewhere, you can actually just drink those carbs in that bottle leading into the session, and you'll find that actually, they've probably got 40 to 60 grams of carbs in that bottle. You're just drinking on that before your session, and that's a great way to top up and make up anything that you need to from getting to that 100 grams of carbohydrates. Jump on the bike, 40 to 60 grams of carbs on the bike as well. Certainly if it's going to be anything that's, again, at threshold and above. Fasted riding later in the day can be quite hard. Okay, I would say that you could probably actually, if it's just going to be a zone 2 ride that you're doing, you can potentially not take anything on if you fueled well during the day going into that ride. okay? If you've had a really bad day of fueling and you've missed all of these targets that I've just gone through there, which can happen, this is obviously optimal, right? Then I would probably suggest that you still do have a little bit of carbohydrate on the bike, even if you are riding at zone 2, because it's going to improve the quality of that zone 2 ride. You're not going to get the same fat adaptation as you would if you're doing fasted riding early in the morning. That's the most effective time to perform that fasted riding. But you can still do it a bit later on in the day if the fueling has been where you sort of need it to be. But sometimes, you know what it's like, if you've missed a whole day of fueling, you haven't eaten very well, getting on the bike even to do a zone 2 ride, your energy can be really low and you may even struggle to sustain that zone 2 power, you know, really good sort of 70% of your FTP. So I would still advise maybe having some of those carbs later into the day. Not going to quite get the same adaptations as you would, but you're going to be able to have a good ride. And if you've had a long day, you're feeling tired, it's better to have some energy on that ride to actually still enjoy the session rather than getting on there and feeling like you can only do half an hour and you need to get off again. That's going to really help you maximize that. So straight off the bike, again, 20 to 25 grams of protein once you finish the ride. And then actually for the evening, that's where you want to then really drop carbohydrates down. Because we've had our carbs early in the day, we've used them smartly at the right time, effectively. This is what I call the smart fueling strategy, if you like, in terms of actually being able to place those carbs where you need it. So you know when you actually want to have them and when you don't need them. And in our scenario here, we need them before the ride, but after the ride in the evening, again, lower carbohydrates. So your evening meal on a day like this, we want to increase that protein. So again, something that's got a good bit of meat, fish, beans, tofu, dairy, anything in there, good high protein source and good fiber with that as well. Include some veg, salad, really nice. You can make I was having a conversation with a client yesterday about how it is actually quite enjoyable to get creative with salads, right? You can do so many different things. A lot of people think salad is boring, right? But you can put so many different types, you know, pepper, onion, salad, lettuce, spinach, rocket. I'm just listing off things now. Pumpkin seeds in there, bit of feta, some chicken, bit of fish, play around different types of chicken, bit of steak, lean meat, beef. You know, you can do so many different things with salads and they can taste so really good. A little bit of dressing in there. You need to be careful on the dressings. They can be quite highly calorific, but you can do so many great things with salads and you can make them interesting and you can change them. Sometimes I think people think, oh yeah, if I'm going to lose weight, I just need to eat lettuce. And that's boring, it doesn't taste very nice, but you can do so many good things with them and they're enjoyable and look forward to them. A good salad, if I make one, my partner makes one, she makes some amazing salads and she's just got used to doing that over the years because I've really obviously dialed this in now over the past 10 years, but you can do some great things with it. So yeah, these are the exact nutrition protocols that I use, that we use with our clients, that have worked, tried, tested. If you want to check out some of the testimonials, go to the page, have a look. If you want to chat with me a little bit more on this, you just want to have a call and just say, right, yeah, I've watched one of your videos and I'm seeing these, but I'm just not sure how to implement this with what I'm doing and align it with the training. Obviously, actually aligning this with the specifics with your training is, again, another video or another conversation that you might want to have. Click the link below in the description. If you found that useful, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, by the way. Thanks for coming on and I'll see you in the next one.